Hello everybody, this is Llodg, and today I'm going to be talking about how Star Wars Dark Forces holds up, 29 years later. Star Wars Dark Forces originally came out on March 8th, 1995 for the MS-DOS and Macintosh. It also released on the PS1 a year later, which I didn't even know about until writing this video, but in this video I'm going to be talking about the remaster that came out on February 28th, 2024. More specifically the Xbox Series X version, but I'm pretty sure it's all the same no matter what platform you're on. Other than the vault, which has some cool concept art / work in progress stuff of the original game like an old playable level, the remaster has all the same stuff as the original, so if you want to play the original version, you can. But I am glad that they add the vault as it just gives more value to the remaster, and it's always nice to see stuff like this within the games. Dark Forces was the first FPS Star Wars game that we ever got. It was inspired by seeing fan-made mods of Doom that had a Death Star level. Just from seeing the game, I'm sure you can tell that it was heavily inspired by Doom, just based off the gameplay. You have a variety of weapons, and instead of everything being 3D models, a lot of them are 2D sprites. You also have many weapons you're able to use throughout the game, as you pick them up throughout the levels. You have weapons like a Stormtrooper laser rifle, thermal detonators, assault cannon, and even your own fists. My favorite weapon to use was the Imperial repeater gun. It was so fun to quickly shoot through Stormtroopers with. All the weapons are pretty fun to use, and some of them even use different types of ammo, so it's fun to swap between them as you run low on ammo. Luckily, while playing, I really never completely ran out of ammo. On controller, it's also really easy to swap weapons with the radio wheel. You also have a flashlight and thermal goggles, so you're able to see in dark areas. However, for some reason, they only have a limited amount of battery per level, so if you use them too much, you can't use them anymore at all. I'm not sure if there's a way to refill the battery, as I never found it while playing, but it can be really annoying, especially when there are a lot of dark areas within this game. It feels like a design flaw since it can be pitch black with the only way to see anything is to shoot a weapon and see a flash of light as the laser beams past. The story is fairly basic. You're playing as Kyle Katarn. He's a part of the rebellion and was a former Imperial Stormtrooper, which explains why he's so good at shooting. Throughout the game he goes on different missions, and hey, at the start of them you even get a whole mission briefing that tells you everything you need to know. But I honestly don't read them too much, which is probably to my detriment. And like most Star Wars games, this one starts with the famous title crawl that gives us a brief rundown on what's happening, which basically says that the Empire is super strong and has a new powerful weapon that'll threaten everybody. But Kyle Katarn is here with all his Imperial knowledge to infiltrate the base that keeps these plans. So our first mission is stealing the first Death Star planes that will help Luke blow it up in A New Hope. Sorry Rogue One, Kyle Katarn was able to do it single-handedly, and no one on his team died. I won't be going over every level's story because there are a lot with 14 levels, but you find out about the Empire's new weapon, the Dark Troopers. Dark Troopers are these advanced droids that are super strong and can take a real beating. This project is being seen by General Mock, and even overseen by Darth Vader himself. This is actually the Dark Troopers' first appearance in all of Star Wars, so it makes sense that the game's story would feature them so heavily. Kyle has to go and find the weapons the Dark Troopers are using, or even find the weapons manufacturer. As Kyle Katarn unearths more and more about the Dark Trooper project, the Empire places a bounty on his head, leading to the Hutts capturing Kyle and Jan Ors. Jan is basically Kyle's partner on his missions, where she gives him intel and flies their ship from mission to mission. Jabba wants to get the bounty on Kyle's head and throws him down to a pit with a Kell Dragon. And this game does the coolest thing by having you fight a Kell Dragon with only your bare hands. This is something straight out of Doom Eternal, and it's so cool. Kyle Katarn deserves so much admiration just from this. Anyway, he fights through a ton of Gamorrean guards and rescues Jan. Then they get a Coruscant so they can find a data tape. However, when they get to the landing pad, Jan is nowhere to be seen. There is only Boba Fett. One of the most infamous bounty hunters in the galaxy has come to claim the bounty on us. And he's dead. The fight literally took less than 30 seconds, and I even missed half the shots. No wonder Han was able to take him out so easily. Anyway, Kyle is able to smuggle himself onto the Arc Hammer, kill General Mock, who's in Dark Trooper armor, and blow up the ship, thus ending the game.
This is an unfortunate setback. The Force is strong with Katarn.
Huh, that probably doesn't lead anywhere. But yeah, that's the basic story of the campaign. I think it's serviceable for the game as it has stakes and actually brings you around to so many different planets of the galaxy. The story might be a little weird to play now, as it's all Legends content. Like, yeah, Dark Troopers are canon, but it's just not the same. But if you're able to forget about the actual canon and just focus on what the game tells you, I think it's still a pretty fun story to run through. The levels are all designed pretty well, though I think my main complaint is that the campaign is much more fun to play through after you've already played through it once before, which I feel like is the opposite of so many games since the first time you play through a game is special. But with Dark Forces, the first time playing through the campaign was really slow and I got lost a lot. That's not to say the game is really confusing, I just think the game benefits when you already have a general direction of where to go. I had a lot more fun when I could run through the levels quickly and just shoot at stormtroopers. The game can be a little cryptic on where to go next in the levels, but I never thought it was too bad. It might just be helpful to have a guide with you in case you get lost, or have to figure out some of the puzzles because oh my goodness, some of them can be really confusing. Also, there was one part that I feel like took way too long, and you just had to wait on the spinning platform as it slowly made its way across the room. Like, the Empire definitely could have made this go a little faster, right? I said before that the start of each level had intel for each mission, and it's mostly given to you by Jan, and while I probably should have looked at them more closely, I feel like there's just so much to read through at the beginning, and I could just run through the level and hope they go the right way. And I did really like that they had one given to you by Jabba, though he wasn't too helpful. The developers also placed a ton of secrets and traps throughout the levels. The traps may have been just so people lose all their lives quickly and have to replay the levels over and over again, like me. While I think the map can be really useful to use, it also isn't the easiest to read. It's just a bunch of lines, and when the levels have so many different corridors or levels to go through, it can be a little difficult to read. Though sometimes I'll just be looking at the map forever and still not know where to go. The game also has a surprising amount of different enemies to go against, and while they're all mostly the same, it's nice to get a little variety while fighting against them. The main differences, other than their appearance, are what weapons they use. The best part is, pretty much every weapon they use against you is a weapon you can use right back at them. I have to say, even in the original game, the sprites looked really impressive, but in the remaster they just look so good. It's easy to tell what everything is, and it's like everything got a fresh coat of paint. The levels also look pretty good, though it's a 90s PC game at its core, so nothing super impressive. It also doesn't strictly feel like Star Wars all the time. Like, I know this game came out before Phantom Menace, but Coruscant looks so different. I think it's all serviceable though. I will say some of the levels really feel like a specific color, which may sound a little weird. Like, one planet is just all red, and when I finally got out of the level, I feel like I could only see like blue. And another level would just be all ice and be really bright. And some color variety would be nice, but it wasn't too bad. Whenever there are 3D cinematics is when I think this remaster really shines. They look really good in my opinion, and I wouldn't mind a whole game in this kind of style. The music and sound effects are also surprisingly good. This is a 1995 DOS game at its core, so I wasn't expecting to hear anything mind-blowing, but all the sound effects sounded like what you'd hear in a Star Wars game. The music is also pretty good. It can get a little repetitive when you're in the levels, but that's kind of the charm of it all in my opinion. Especially when you get a track that is super similar to one of the best tracks within the actual Star Wars movies. The voice acting isn't terrible, but it's nothing super impressive either. It's serviceable for the game and the story. And I think Jan has the best voice acting in the game.
Kyle, where are you? I'm back at the landing pad. Where were you, Jan? I had TIE fighters all over me. I had to properly dispose of them.
Vader's voice actor is also pretty good and sounds a lot like James Earl Jones.
The Emperor has approved your test demonstration, General Monk. A noble cause, General. I hope the demonstration lives up to your claims. Proceed.
The enemy voice acting is pretty funny when you cut them off immediately after they start talking though.
You there, stop where you are.
For being such an old game and the first Star Wars game of its time, it holds up surprisingly well. The gunplay is fun and there are so many levels to play through with secrets hidden within them. There's a reason this game ended up having so many sequels after this. Let me know what you think about Star Wars Dark Forces, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a good day, and goodbye.